Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm your host, Rich. I am joined by my co-caster, Ravage. Ravage, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, pretty good, man. How about you?
Excellent. We're actually already in picks bands, so we're going to hop over to that right now. The first band's coming in. It's going to be ISIS, and that's going to be Epsilon's band. Epsilon versus XGN. This is a pretty big match. Do you want to help me explain just how big of a match this is to the people watching right now?
Rich, this matchup is huge for Epsilon right now. This is the game of their lives. They have a lot on the line here tonight as they have been gunning for a SWC spot for a long time. They didn't manage to get the UMG placement to get to the UMG line, so they didn't even have that opportunity. Where they are right now, they're tied with the Weir for that 7th and vital land spot. They really need to 2-0 here right now. They don't want to be sitting on their knees there later watching the Weir game, waiting to see if they take one round versus these guys, if Weir's going to tie up with them. They want 2, because that puts them in a tie with Elevate. And even if a Weir wins 2-0, it's going to put them in a 3-way situation where Elevate is also going to have to play for that last spot.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not going to be easy. They're up against XGN, by far one of the most dominant teams in this league. They're just coming and they're showing how important that experience that they have from PC actually is. The first pick is coming in, though, for Epsilon as Giannis. Definitely a strong pick. They've taken ISIS and Giannis off the table now for Mace to the face, and we've seen how destructive he is with both of those gods. ISIS probably being his best god. And right now, the lock-in has not happened yet, but okay, there it is. Jing Chen and Khepri. That's a pretty deadly combo right off the bat for XGN. We've seen how good they are with this Guardian meta, with this healing meta. That's already a strong start.
That's a hard pair to kill. You've got Khepri pushing Chen. Xing Chen has heals for 5 for days. So you pair that up with Khepri and his ultimate and how tanky he can be. It's going to be a very hard combo. We're going to see that answer with the Zhang Kui pick over here, though, in the healing meta. Zhang Kui, obviously a very strong mid laner, very hard to kill, and we've seen how popular he's been in SPL this weekend in the Super Regionals. Mix that up here with the Giannis, you got that global pressure. Actually, that's going to be a Zhang Kui solo laner, which we saw in the Cyclone Spin, actually, sport last night.
Yeah, and we saw, it's pretty good. I do like that pick. I'm curious who we see Mace actually try to get right now for XGN.
What's that third pick there, Rich?
What did you say?
What's that third pick?
The third pick that just came in was Nemesis.
Nemesis. So Nemesis is going to be answered with the Bastet. I think that's good. But the Nemesis is a great pick when you look at the fact they have Khepri and Jing Chen right off the hop. You have that shred, but we've seen that Nemesis hasn't been real effective, even when we saw it yesterday in the Super Regionals, as well as in the MLG Pro League. So I think a lot of people are kind of on the fence with Nemesis right now. She's great in a tank shred comp if you have someone else who's shredding. So look for them to pick something else up here to kind of complement the Nemesis pick. But Zhang Kui and Giannis, you may see it on her on the carry.
I just love that Guan Yu ban. That Guan Yu ban was really, really smart.
So do I see really Sobek banned as well?
Yeah, it's Guan Yu, Sobek, and Hell were banned by XGN, and a Zeus ban just actually came in from Epsilon, which is smart. They're really trying to limit Mace to the face. Mace just being really dominant in a lot of the matches that we have seen. We've seen him play Zeus, we've seen him play Isis, and we've seen him play Giannis, and he has looked strong on all of them. I'm trying to think now who his best pick might be. We've seen him break out. I know his old favorite was Anubis, but that's definitely not going to work here. We saw him play. We haven't seen a Scylla in a really long time. I feel like Scylla
was utilized a lot in the Super Regionals this weekend, especially when we saw Anisha for the setup. It looks like we're going to see the Agni pick answered, and that's big, Rich.
Yeah,
Agni is a real high damage potential mage and has a lot of setup potential with the stun on it. And he gets the stun from a distance. The problem is going to be these guys aren't used to Xbox just yet, and to really maximize the potential that Agni has, you need to get the Toxic Fumes after you've sent the bomb. If not, you're given a big target that says, hey, you're going to get stunned if you stand in the circle. They know where you're going to hit. So if you can get the bomb off and then put the fumes down, it's much more effective. It's just very hard to execute on a standard Xbox controller. So I'd be curious to know if XGN are playing with SCUF controllers, because if they're playing with those scuffs, it's going to be a lot easier to compound that ultimate.
We're going to see the rest of the Epsilon team get polished off here with a Geb and a Shivalanka. Definitely smart picks, but focusing on the XGN comp for just another second here, we're seeing a lot of setup potential, but and a lot of setup and a lot of control. Okay, the Hou Yi definitely makes a lot of sense here because that Hou Yi is going to be able to take advantage of the positioning that XGN will be able to get their opponents in and blast them down with those suns.
The things to look for here, Rich, look for the Jing channel compounded into a Hou Yi ult setup.
Yeah.
And then for the Bastet to be able to pounce in, bleed, drop the cats, as well as the Agni Bombs come in to kind of set everything up. They have a really nice setup here. That's a beautiful team comp. The thing you have to think with on XGN, Drelo has been really the big story of enemy this weekend. And Drelo is playing solo lane right now for XGN. And that, you have to think, is a huge benefit when you're looking at picks and bans, because enemies' picks and bans this weekend have been on fire.
Yeah, I'm just looking at XGN right now. They have a really beefy front line, which is super critical in this meta, but they also, and they have really good hard engage. They have a comp that can engage very well. Looking at Epsilon right now, though, they have so much global pressure just with the Shivalanka and the Giannis. I do like their comp as well.
Yeah, they definitely have a nice comp. With the Zhang Kui and the X-Ball scale into the late game with the Giannis, there's a lot of high damage potential there. You factor that in with the Nemesis who can shred those tanks if they do catch someone out. And who's the fifth pick there?
The fifth pick, the Shivalanka?
Fourth. Sorry, that's Geb.
Geb,
okay.
yeah. Geb.
And you compound that in with the Geb with the Cataclysm. There's a lot of lockdown there to get those abilities off. Zhang Kui obviously does a lot of damage. The problem is that they don't have that hard engagement potential like for those team fights on objectives like XGN has. XGN does have the better comp when it comes to pure team fight potential.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Looking at the laning phase, going to look at the duo lane first. The Shivalanka paired with that Geb. Definitely strong, but will probably be able to be outpushed by the Hou Yi Khepri early on. Just also because of the Khepri. The Khepri can push that lane very hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of clear potential with the Hou Yi Khepri. We've seen how potent Hou Yi can be now with the lane clear. You put that in as well with Khepri on us too. You have a really nice lane going there. Look for the X-Ball and Geb to be pressured nice and early under tower. The real thing here for Kata is he's going to want to scale until about the mid game when the supports leave lane, and to get into a position where he tries to box with Hou Yi. He might be able to do that if he can just dodge that ricochet and make sure that he's able to get the better of him on those little trades.
Yeah. All right, look into that mid lane. We got Penny on the Giannis, and that's going to be against Mace to the Face's Agni. Run me through that matchup really quick. Who do you think is going to take the laning phase? Obviously, Agni and Giannis both bring very different things to a team fight. Giannis bringing that global pressure, Agni bringing that setup potential and a lot of burst damage.
The way that matchup kind of sizes up, Rich, is that Giannis does have that nice wave clear if he makes sure to hit the unstable vortex correctly on the wave. The problem being is that Agni also has good wave clear. Once he gets those bombs online, from a mana standpoint, Agni has more sustain because those bombs don't cost him any mana. And you can use those to clear lane if you want to. And they're good at securing the mid Harpies. The problem being is that at level 1, you don't have that advantage. Giannis won't have the advantage at level 1 for the initial clear. Agni, if he starts Path of Flames, is really going to be able to melt through that wave if he can get ahead of Giannis by a few seconds in the lane. And that'll push the initial wave into tower. And then Agni may have an advantage actually getting the mid camps with his jungler. The problem being is that Giannis and the Bastet are going to be better clearing those mids than Nemesis and Agni.
How has Penny been performing as of late? We've seen already Mace to the Face has been performing very well. How's Penny's performance been? Because that's going to be really big for Epsilon.
Penny had a rough go of it starting off in his first game as he was placed in an awkward situation where Kata wasn't able to attend. So he was actually playing the carry role. But we've seen Penny actually adjust to the mid lane fairly well. He's definitely not at the same level as Sambam just yet, but he is performing admirably and competing with a lot of the other mid laners that have been around the scene for a long time. We haven't seen him too much on that on the Giannis, so it'll be interesting to see how he performs on that god.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see, because Giannis isn't the easiest god to pilot at all. I think people forget that hitting those portals well, getting snipes off with them, sometimes to be a little bit more aggressive, those aren't things that are easy. So it does take the right person to pilot that to actually see that well. What do you think about the Zhang Kui pick, though, by Sealcar in that solo lane?
I really like the Zhang Kui pick. We saw Cyclone Spin play it last night, actually, and it was very effective because Zhang Kui, once he gets all those souls in his bag, it's really, really hard to kill him. He has so much protections online, and you have to think that that's really going to play to Sealcar's strength. Sealcar likes those real tanky odds. Look for him to build Zhang Kui very tanky with a little bit of an edge on damage, but he should perform pretty well in that Zhang Kui.
I have not seen Sealcar play Zhang Kui yet, so I'm very curious to see that, but we do see right out the gates Epsilon laying down those 2 very aggressive wards.
Yeah, they're going to get those aggressive wards nice and early. XGN not opting to do the same from what I can see, which is interesting. But we've seen a lot of teams shy away from the aggressive wards here lately. I'm not sure what the reasoning is from an internal standpoint. I haven't really reached out and asked anyone. But Epsilon has always warded aggressively, even when it wasn't the thing to do on Xbox.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good play here, and I think maybe part of the reason a lot of teams aren't going for it is because they're afraid of getting punished early. But I actually feel like XGN was probably in a better place if an engagement did start early on. They probably would have been able to hold their own, but not something you want to rush into by any means, especially when so much is on the line. And I'm imagining XGN is coming into this match pretty confident.
The only problem they have is that Draylo's actually playing on hotel internet right now, so that might actually play against them a little bit. But you have to think they're feeling confident. They haven't had a huge issue here. They haven't been really put on their toes yet. Obviously, they have dropped rounds, but overall, they performed very well against the top teams here on Xbox.
They also have been playing Xbox like the duration of the season. I remember talking to Mace, because Mace was actually one of my first contacts into Smite. He was so helpful. He's a good friend of Ethan, who casted with us. They used to actually play together like when the game first came out on PC. And I talked to Mace and I was just like, hey, what's going on with Smite? Getting a lot of information from him. And then he hit me up one day and he was like, hey, I think we're moving over to Xbox. And sooner or later, it turns out he did move over to Xbox. And he told me the day he got his Xbox was the first day of matches. And they've been practicing ever since.
Just look what Sealcar is doing here in the lane. He's kind of driving over to the side. And what's ended up happening is for Draylo to actually engage on him, he has to actually take the aggro from the archers. And look at the health on Jing Chen right now. He's already down to half health. So he's doing a really good job here. Sealcar just playing the side of the lane and just using that range that Zhang Kui has against Jing Chen nice and early.
Yeah, and that is this lane's really important because that Jing Chen can do so much if you allow him to.
He can, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, I mean, Zhang Kui is quite formidable when it comes to damage. I mean, I'd look for Sealcar. If there was a kill potential in this lane, it has to go to Sealcar. He does have that regen. It's a very good pick against the Jing Chen when you think about it, when you really analyze it.
Yeah. I definitely do like the Jing Chen pick, though, just for the setup potential in the late game. But like you said, if a kill is going to happen here, it's most likely going to be going to Sealcar, and he's looking very confident on the scout already. Not the god. We've actually seen Sealcar play so much Jing Chen, so he really does know what this god can do, and he definitely knows how to play against it. In the duo lane right now, we are seeing a lot of pressure coming out. We're seeing Shibalanka, Kata getting pushed up against this tower with Kenshin right now. Not overly surprised there. Kind of how we thought this lane would go.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing surprising coming out of this lane right now. Don't look for Kata to get overly aggressive here. They know this is a very important game, and they're not going to look to feed first blood. It's not going to come out of the dual lane. They know they have to play this nice and cautious. They need to wait for late game for the X-Ball.
Yeah, the mid lane, everything's looking pretty standard. We are seeing them. Did you see who actually got the mid camps? I missed that myself.
It looks like it was a trade on mid camps from what I could see, and then it was just a trade on backs as well. Looked like a fairly standard
yeah, no one
there.
wants to be the one to make the mistake in this match, and that's very understandable. We're getting near level 5, though, for pretty much everyone. So that Bastet's at level 5 right now, and we know how deadly those cats can be early on in the game. May see rotation coming in soon.
Yeah, look for the rotation to go on to the solo side. That's an easy kill on Zhang Kui. And here's the rotation coming out nice and early through space and time. Going to be dropped. Bastet making the move as the engagement has started over here. And they are just going to back it on up over here. Jing Chen a little low after that engagement.
Yeah, we actually did see Bobby Basketball get back in time, but the Nemesis is coming back but Shame's not going to be able to get there. That hop just does so much work. You're able to get away so quick because you can pop it twice. A lot of movement off of that ability.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Xing Chen is so mobile. You're going to see the invasion on the blue buff here now as they get aggressive. Xing Chen back at Fountain. That's going to be a free blue buff for Zhang Kui. That's going to keep him moving. And that makes the lane a little bit harder for Xing Chen, as it's very hard to utilize him without the blue buff. He'll be able to, he won't be able to get as aggressive on the lane, Rich. He won't be able to get up on top of Zhang Kui. Zhang Kui will be able to walk in, clear his wave, and kind of walk out now. Because Xing Chen can't exert so much mana on abilities.
Yeah, doesn't he also lose HP 5 off of it?
Off the blue buff?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the long run, I mean, if you look at it from the fact that he's not going to be putting off as many abilities in a short amount of time, and it's not going to proc his passive, then yes, he does lose HP 5.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
But the blue buff doesn't provide HP 5.
Yeah, I know the blue buff doesn't. I was talking about his passive. Because that's been a big thing with Xing Chen, just how much health he ends up getting by using by using his abilities constantly.
He does, and that's the big thing with Xing Chen. I mean, you have the roar, and then you have his jump and the axe, and it's just it's just an onslaught of abilities. So we're going to see the engagement. Nemesis is all going to go up. Look for Xing Chen to melt here, and there's the Zhang Kui all compounded there, Rich, and they are chasing him down on our tower, not going to secure that kill.
A little bit more of a rotation coming in. We are going to see Freddy get quite a bit of damage out on Shame. Connects with that solar flare. Shame able to get away here without a problem, but Homie is going to set his sights onto Shame, and if we see these cats come down, that could be a kill. It could be first blood. Penny gonna step 2 though, zone him out just a little bit. That Yan is still a formidable foe, even this early on in the game.
Yeah, the Giannis is chunking here early, and it's interesting to see you have so many tanky people, and you just see how much Giannis can do in damage on these big gods, even through that.
Sealcar is looking so strong right now. I'm very impressed. I just haven't seen him play this god yet. I was a little worried he wasn't going to be able to play, but Sealcar is such a strong solo laner. We've seen him come time and time again and just perform.
It's not his type of god. I mean, the thing is that Sealcar is huge on those warrior type gods and those guardian gods. And you know, when you look at it, Zhang Kui is a mage at the end of the day, but he does have those aspects, the guardians, those heavy protections, the ability to actually build them up. So I guess if you really look at it, maybe it's not such a big turn for him, but it is a mage character, so it's something different that we haven't really seen him ever play. I've never seen him play a magey type of character.
Yeah,
ever.
I haven't either. That's really what surprised me here. We are seeing tension right now, and Shame, they're going to be able to... Oh, that's a hot blink right now, but Ho Yi able to dive out of there. But Shame, hot pursuit, that's your first blood. We are going to see Ho Yi go down, and that's big for Kata. Oh, Homie, while we're talking, is going to be able to return on Sealcar. Didn't get there quite quick enough. That's a big play, too.
And then that's what we're talking about. The Bastet was going to target that solo lane, as it's pretty much a free kill for her. Once she gets in, he has no escape. He'll be able to pop his ultimate, but those cats are going to really chew through Zhang Kui.
Yeah, you kind of just assume the cats are going to take an early kill. They're so strong, they do so much damage. That's one of the strengths of Bastet, is that early level 5 gank potential. But the Ho Yi is a really big pick, because Ho Yi so definitely favored in the laning phase, and now we're going to see Shibalanka get just a little bit farther pushed up on that lane. He's going to be able to take this attack speed buff right now, and he'll get in that much stronger.
Yeah, he'll be able to get in there, at least with his attack speed buff, which is good. That's not getting invaded on him, which is definitely a plus. Epsilon's had a little bit of trouble with jungle control recently. Shame, obviously, the new pickup in jungle for Epsilon, but he's looked to control that jungle pretty handily this game, as you're going to see them with the transition back-to-back camps. They're just making sure they maximize their clear potential on the camps. They're not too worried about the triple splitting on the camps, so that's something interesting to note as well. These 3 members of Epsilon are moving to the camps very quickly, making sure they just clear those timers, so there's not even a chance for an invade.
Yeah, and definitely a smart play. Farming's going to be super important in this matchup. Just 100%.
And it looks pretty good so far. How about you look at the charts here, Rich, and just show us what's going on?
Yeah, the XP difference right now, only 800, and that's slightly in favor of XGN, but the gold difference is about 500, and that is slightly in favor of Epsilon. So it is pretty even right now, but we are starting to see some damage come in on this Gold Fury. Geb's going to be able to get in here, though, without a problem. The rollout coming through, going to cause the Gold Fury to reset, but this puts Shame in a pretty good position to potentially get damage on Agni, but Shame's going to back up, choose to not be too aggressive here.
Yeah, they're going to back it up and just play it safe after that. You don't want to do anything too risky.
Rotating in.
Yeah, it looks like we're seeing the rotation. Here comes Drelo coming in with the ultimate's going to be chopped, and he's going to be popped back to mid. Harpies to see Peppery coming with the dash. Nemesis is all going to go down to Jing Chen. However, he's going to have to jump on out. Agni Bomb going to be there to disengage as we see Zhang Kui in with the hot ultimate as well, Rich. And people are melting.
Yeah, that was a really aggressive play. I thought he was going to get punished, but we're actually going to see Kata get polished off in lane there. I missed that. That was just a boxing match.
Yeah, that was who do we see go down there? Rich, I can't see.
Shivalanka fell. Shivalanka fell. So Kata just died, and that's going to be really unfortunate. That takes away their first kill. That takes away their early momentum. Going back to that play, though, that we did just see with the Jing Chen rotating in, I for a second there thought that we were going to see Jing Chen actually get punished. I thought he maybe got a little bit too aggressive. He did get a really nice setup, and they were trying to get the pick there. And that was the setup potential that we said XGN had, the hard engage comp that they did have. And it was working pretty well, but there was so much Epsilon focused in that area that they were able to kind of counteract that and potentially turn that team fight in their favor. But we saw the skill of XGN. They didn't overcommit there, although it may have looked like they did get too aggressive. But that Shibalanka going down may come back to bite them.
It might. It might come back to bite them. The issue is that
look at this rotation.
Does get there's the rotation.
We're starting to see Epsilon trying to return some of this aggression here, but that rotation was a little bit slow.
Yeah, it was, and I think that's what we're continuing to see here is that Penny isn't able to get in the lane quick enough with the through space and time on the Jing Chen. Is he's able just to jump back and just get out of there. I think they need to time it for when Jing Chen uses his jumps to engage, and then use through space and time and then close the gap on him.
Yeah, Jing Chen actually has been able to just walk back too sometimes. Sometimes he's not even using that bead to get out. So Penny's just looking a little slow on this Giannis. Oh, a nice Agni Bomb's going to come in on Kenshin. There's the abduction here, and that's the Houyi ultimate.
Yeah, that's going to be the ultimate from Houyi baited out there, as well as we see Giannis moving in with an unstable vortex just to create some space so his teammates can get out of there. We're going to see the invade coming out here as well, Rich.
Kenshin just probably absolutely stunned that he got away there. He had like a 1/10 of a bar of health left. We see that invade come off. The attack speed buff is going to go to XGN here. Shame and Kat are now going to look for a pick here. We do see Houyi take a chunk of damage there, but he is able to use his kit to get away. Penny coming in this time with a rotation. It looks like it's a little bit quicker, but it's not going to be enough to actually exert the pressure that they need to put onto XGN right now. XGN definitely feeling happy with that engagement, even though they were not able to take Kenshin down. Kenshin, though, going to come in with that hot rollout. Freddy Q going to be able to get away.
A lot of aggression coming out here on both sides. Exciting game so far. No one really letting up on the pressure, which is something you didn't really expect to see with both teams fighting for their lives. You usually want to see that passive game, or expect to see that passive game when this is the situation. But both teams just coming out here hard, looking for those hard engagements, and that solo lane being really, really targeted by both sides.
Look at Mace there. Mace really just trying to get that damage on Penny, but Kenshin gets there with enough time to get that shield up. That shield's so strong, it brings Penny to a pretty comfortable spot. Penny is a little bit low on mana. Expect him to recall soon. I really do like the fact that both teams are coming out aggressive, though. I really think the biggest problem right now is that Penny has been a little slow, but we are going to see the through space and time get dropped here, and once again, he's just not able to step up to Jing Chen or Homie quick enough. They're not able to get that pressure on that they're trying to get on, and now this is actually going to be an opportunity in XGN's favor. We're going to see the Agni Bombs come out, and here's that setup potential that this comp has. Kenshin melting down. They might not be, okay, they are going to be able to get that kill that they wanted on Kenshin, and they're looking for a second one on Shame. There is the abduction. We're seeing quite a bit of damage come out, and Bobby, being very mobile, is going to misread Shame here, but a beautiful play by Mace to the face is able to pick off Shame without a problem. Starting to swing a little bit in XGN's favor. Definitely not too far that Epsilon's not going to be able to catch up, but this hard engage comp that they do have with a lot of setup potential is working out for XGN really well. I think Penny needs to step up right now, be able to get these portals off a little bit quicker, because that rotation actually really hurt them. It gave, oh, Penny's actually going to step up right there. He does get in quick enough, and he manages to take down Houyi. Looking at the graphs right now, we are going to see the XP difference about 3,800 in favor of XGN, and the gold difference only 779.
It's starting to get a little bit in favor of XGN at this point, but Epsilon definitely isn't out of this game. They just need to look for these team fights on the objectives, and they might be able to turn this around. Look at Sealcard just putting the pressure on top of Drelo right now, as that Zhang Kui seems to be very effective against Jing Chen.
Yeah, Sealcard just always performing to his absolute best. One of my favorite solo laners in this league. Just always super impressive. So on the grass right now, like you did mention, definitely not crazy amount of favor shown right now for XGN. The reason that I'm favoring XGN right now in this matchup is just because of how they're looking in these team fights. They're really they're finding weaknesses in the rotation that Epsilon is putting on and getting picks off. And that's what their comp is really good at doing. They can find the one person who's out of position, they can get a stun off on him, they can abduct him, and just take him down.
Yeah, Zhang Kui, you're going to see the more he's targeted without his escape. Look at this engagement coming over here in the by the purple buff, though, as we see the abduct going to come off here as well. Agni Bomb's going to be compounded, but Nemesis is going to have the shield there. As long as the Geb shield, she's not going to take a whole lot of damage. Just going to get back into the fight as we see some posturing going on here around the Gold Fury.
Yeah, even there, you just see how strong this comp really is. They were able to just get Shame into a bad position. Luckily, though, Kenshin, providing that shield's going to be able to get Shame out of the abduct and allow Shame to ultimately keep that life.
Yeah, Shame just putting with those shields, with the Geb shield and the Nemesis shield plus the reflect. There's just no way to do any damage to him right there. And I think that probably had a factor to play in their team comp, something that I didn't really think about in picks and bans. In fact, the Nemesis is going to be really hard to kill if you put all those shields on her. Yeah,
they have managed to get one kill off on the Shame right now, and that was because they were able to get Shame far away enough from the Geb to actually be able to melt it down. Now Shame's going to get a little aggressive, step in right up to Ho Yi and going to force Ho Yi out, zone him just a little bit. This is going to give them a little bit more control over that area, but Shame's going to go back, not try to do any crazy shenanigans near this Gold Fury. Look, right now, though, we are seeing Sealcard get kind of low here, and a hot pursuit right now from Jing Chen.
Yeah, as Jing Chen just continuing to try and put pressure here, we're going to see that he is behind the Tier 1 tower as he just watch them just come back up here and chase him out of the lane. Jing Chen with just so much mobility. Look at the ultimate going to come out here as well. Going to flick them back right in the tower as he makes his escape.
He's just trying to get his health back there, and he's going to be able to escape no problem. And this is going to give enough of an opportunity right now for XGN to move in on this Gold Fury. And they're going to try to get as much damage into it as they can, but it hasn't fallen below 50% yet. And we are seeing portals come out from Giannis, Geb, Shame, and Shibalanka very close. But Gold Fury at about 20%. They're going to let it reset, though, because they don't want to lose that to a little snipe.
Yeah, and we're going to see them put a lot of pressure on here. The Nemesis, again, coming out here with little to no health loss, but she's going to get chased down by the Jing Chen as they just...
Setting up on Kenshin now. Look at that engagement. They are able to just bring him down. The abduction, once again, once they split up this team, but we are going to see a kill returned on Homie Life, and that's going to be big. It does go to the hands of Kata. Freddy getting a little bit low here. They're going to try to back up. The Ho Yi ult's going to give them enough time to get a little bit of a disengage going. Jing Chen trying to step to Shame, but Penny giving enough support. There's the ultimate, and that's going to fling him right back. Shame going to go down.
And this is what we're talking about. The Jing Chen ult into that hard CC and the Hu Yi ultimate is going to be very, very difficult to deal with as this match goes on. As we saw right there, the Jing Chen ultimate right back to the Agni Bomb with the Toxic Fumes. So that extended CC just put onto Shame, and he was secured pretty easily.
I am just starting to love XGN's comp so much. It's really scary.
It is. They do have a good comp here, and I mean, I said this in picks and bans. There's the Agni Bomb can come down as well, and just look at all the damage coming down.
Wow.
Zhang Kui almost down. Penny is likely to fall here as well as the Path of Flames just hit him. And the Flame Wall, and he is just going to barely get out of there with a portal.
Epsilon probably feeling pretty lucky right now that they managed to get that Cold Fury kill, because it looked like 3 of them were going to go down when that damage started flowing through. Shame hopping right back in the jungle, needs to make sure this farm game stays strong so they stay in a place where they can keep putting some pressure onto XGN, because XGN has a strong team comp, and if they get the picks that they want to get, they're just going to let this match snowball. Positioning is going to be so crucial for Epsilon throughout this entire game.
Yeah, it's going to continue to be a real issue for them because they can't get picked off because it's almost a guaranteed kill when you look at the ability that they have to chain CC and just get that AoE damage off over and over and over again. It's it's going to be a struggle for Epsilon. They're going to have to look for their picks when we don't see XGN as grouped up as they have been. And that's going to have to be how they win these fights.
Yeah, picks and bans are going to be hard for Epsilon too, coming to game 2. And that's regardless of who wins this match. XGN has been so good at picks and bans. We're seeing a little bit of a rotation actually going on over here. We're seeing Jing Chen take quite a bit of damage, but he is not out of this fight at all. He's tanky enough to wait for his teammates to come. We're seeing Mace come in with those Agni bombs. What a performance right now.
Through space and time going to come out here. Steelcar going to secure the kill as well on the Jing Chen as we see the chase on the Unstable Vortex going to hit Bastet. Down to half health here is Kepri in a little bit of trouble. Agni coming back in. He's going to be taking down the back line. That kill is going to go to Shame as we see the onslaught of Epsilon is coming here on this tier 1 tower, and that was a good fight for them.
That was a huge fight for them, and that was what I was saying from the beginning of this matchup. Once Penny starts to hit these rotations at a well-timed, like there he goes again, a well-timed portal, he's able to get even more pressure onto Freddy, gonna push him back. They're even looking at this tier 2 right now. Definitely an aggressive play if they start to go for it, and we are gonna see Bastet coming back in. But this global pressure that Penny does bring to the table needs to be exploited. That is their best chance to actually get some solid picks on XGN. We are gonna see Freddy there get a lot of damage on Sealcar through that abduction, but the Geb shield is going to come down.
It looks like there's no one else here now as he doesn't want Cast to be popped on him again, and that is going to be a definite kill secured if that does happen. And Zhang Kui really has no escape. Once those cats get on him, it's lights out.
Yeah, 100%. That was a huge fight for them, though. If they can keep using that global pressure to really turn the tides there, because they have to avoid the hard engagements. They can't get picked off. They need a bunch of heads rolling through space and times, getting to that fight time. And we are going to see Homie try to pick off Penny here, but Penny's going to be able to use that portal to get out. Definitely going to probably want to go back after he does take down this XP camp.
Yeah, he's definitely going to want to go back here. Look at the pressure coming on the tier 1 tower on Kata right now, with Genshin even there. The Hui just maintaining so much pressure on that lane.
Yeah, we are going to see that mid tower sneezed on whenever they get a chance. Right now, XGN rotating to that mid camp, going to try to get some XP. They definitely just had a loss. That engagement was surprising and very good for Epsilon.
Yeah, it was a very good engagement there for Epsilon. They're able to take that tier 1 tower, so they're getting some global pressure on the map. The problem being that they're down a tier 1 tower on their solo lane and on their mid lane.
Yeah.
By those things? Yeah, right now. So, I mean, that's a big deal. Or they have their mid lane up?
They have the mid lane up.
Okay.
Yeah. So the mid lane tower that is actually down is going to be... So Epsilon's mid is down. And then we have, in the solo lane, we have XGN having a tower down.
Okay.
Yeah, so both teams, though, doing a good job at actually using their team comps for what they are meant to do. I mean, we have a hard engage comp. Oh, wow, a nice setup from Mace there. It looks like Homie's going to go down. Penny getting a nice shot in. Epsilon tying it up right there. The team fight isn't over yet, though. Portal is dropped down, but they're not able to get enough pressure on to secure another kill, but they got to be happy right now. 22 minutes in, and they are tied up 6-6. Once again, though, Jing Chen showing just how mobile of a god he really is. Shame opening up a little bit on Freddy. Freddy's going to get the solar flare off. It's going to connect on Penny and Shame here. I'm not sure why Epsilon's trying to get this aggressive. You're up against the rest of the XGN squad. You're not going to be able to get a solid pick off here, but they're going to try for it anyway.
They think they can gauge here. The Hui ultimate is down. They have a pick on the board, so they think they can get in here. We're going to see Sealcar just step up, and there's the Jing Channel going to pop them all back, where there's no Hui ultimate to compound with that one, so
they
that's
gotta
going to
wait
be
for
for
that
the
ultimate.
defense.
Yeah, that Scarab's going to be able to keep Bobby alive here. It doesn't go off, but they waited enough time to try to bring him down that he's going to be able to get back. Kepri still putting a lot of pressure on with that solar flare, but it looks like the Epsilon squad's going to be able to bring this tower down before they... Yep, there it is. And Penny getting some nice hits off, definitely melting some damage into the XGN faces here. But this is probably the end of this engagement. If they are smart, they are going to get out of here right now, because XGN still does have enough pressure. They have cats right now, so they might be able to get someone down if this engagement keeps going. XGN going to try to rotate right now to this Gold Fury and bring it down. They're feeling strong right now because Epsilon's not that healthy. And right now, turning to Shame and Mace to the face, both of them very low. Mace needs to get out of there. Freddy gonna find that kill on Shame. Sealcar gonna find that kill on Mace to the face. Now Sealcar himself getting low. Bobby Basketball gonna find him without a problem. The pursuit is on Penny. Penny falls down. Epsilon should have gotten out of there. They should have just let XGN take that Gold Fury. Kata getting the Geb shield, needs to get out of here. That Shibalanka ult is gonna buy them enough time, and now XGN's just gonna take that Gold Fury.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. When you look at the actual scaling on the Gold Fury versus what that Tier 1 tower actually netted them, and the pressure, the gold pressure, it probably would have been just as well to give up that Gold Fury there, as they knew they had a lot of their ultimates down. The Huyi ultimate was coming back up, and the Jing Chen ultimate already very low on the cooldown, so that's going to be Gold Fury in favor of XGN. And if we bring up the charts now, Rich, just look. I mean, it's not unsurmountable right now. I mean, Epsilon's still in a good place. I feel, I mean, the goal difference isn't through the roof, but you will see that the scaling did after that Gold Fury. So
it would have. I honestly think they shouldn't have tried to stop XGN from getting that Gold Fury, because there was a chance they were going to get it either way, just looking at how that team fight could have gone. And if they just let them get it, they would have had an extra 2 kills on the board, and they could have put pressure on somewhere else. I think that play was maybe a little bit too aggressive from Epsilon, just because of the team that XGN is, and they have a comp that can kind of handle pressure like that.
Yeah, they do. They have a really good comp for those big engagements, those 5v5 team fights. While Epsilon has that real run and gun fight where they go in, they get to pick, disengage, and then we're going to expel those ultimates, and then we're going to look to get back in on the team fight once again. And that's what Epsilon did really well during the initial part of that mid engagement, and how they really turned the tides. They saw the Hui's ultimate was down, and then they got another engagement and then put the pressure on the Tier 1 tower in the mid lane. They didn't do that time. They had Shame go in there, and then all 5 members of XGN turned on him, and then baited the rest of his team in, when a portal probably should have been just dropped for Shame and just disengaged. You got him off the Gold Fury, that's a win.
Yeah, and when we see Epsilon play that game right now, they're doing very well. But when we see them let XGN play the game that they want to play, XGN does have a little bit of an advantage. Right now, we're going to see just how much setup they can get on. They're getting a lot of damage in on Shame, which is impressive, because Shame, such a tank in this current team. Mace to the face, though, taking quite a bit of damage. He's going to have to back up here, remove himself from the team fight for just a little bit until he can find a pick for himself. They are turning their eyes, though, right now to that mid lane. Everyone just trying to get back, get the farm back on, not lose a life here.
Yeah, we're going to be in a situation now where no one really wants to give up an inch, and what's going to end up happening here is they play this type of game where they're just going to face each other, get out. We're not going to see a whole lot of movement on global objectives. We're just going to see a real farm game. Look at Huyi getting aggressive on Penny right now, as he is going to just get out of that situation. He doesn't want to get rotated on and feed a kill to the enemy team. He's in a fairly good position right now where he is pushing that lane and getting a little bit of freedom. So he doesn't want to give an inch to... Oh, Bastek going to get a kill on Sealcar.
Wow. I did not even see that happen, and we're seeing Penny now trying to get to the fight as quick as he can, because it is still going on. Shame is taking quite a bit of damage, and we are going to see right now the 3 that were involved in that fight for XGN able to get away. Good pick for them. Going into the next game, regardless of who wins here, how do you try to quell the power that XGN has had in picks and bans so far? In every match, they've been coming out with absolutely incredible picks and bans. We saw them, Kata, gonna actually pick up that kill right now on Huyi. Definitely big. They're returning blows right now, back and forth.
That's a big one. That's a big one for Epsilon right there, as we saw the early solo kill that Huyi had on Kata. So to get him in there and get a stack on his passive is a big deal at this point, because you need to get X-Ball scaling towards the late game right now. Get him those stacks on his passive, a little bit of attack damage to tilt the scales in his favor, so he can solo over that lane, so Kenshin doesn't have to be camping over there quite as hard as he has been. Through space and time.
It doesn't look like he's gonna actually use it here. We are gonna see Bobby try to set up Shame here. The Agni Bomb does come down, but it's just not gonna be enough to bring down that tank.
No, not enough to bring him down, not even close. As those Agni Bombs, though, are hurting quite a bit. We're going to see Gab in a little bit of trouble here now. Kenshin with the knock up there as Kepper gets the abduct. Here we go, Bastet in as well, and Jean Quay likely looking to drop those cats down, but Sealcar putting a lot of damage on everyone as he just zones out the entire team of XGN. Jing Chen on the run right now as he was chased down. Agni Bombs put down for the disengage. Look at the Nemesis all popped on Jing Chen. Look for him to get focused down right now as they are all over him. There's the Agni Bomb with the disengage, however, as we see Mace just putting the pressure on and letting his team disengage once again.
Yeah, they have been so good. XGN really is able to get out of a lot of these picks, which is just another strength of their team comp here. We are going to see right now, they're going to try to open up on Sealcar, but they're not going to be able to get that abduction off, so he is going to be able to get away, but not before Mace gets a few of those whips on him. And it's enough damage to pressure him back. He does have quite a bit of gold in hand too. Now Shame, a little bit exposed here. We are going to see a throw try to come out, but Shame is able to get out of it. Now Kenshin taking the brute force from these cats, and there's the setup. We are going to see Shame get knocked right into the squad of XGN. That's one, that is two. Mace to face, taking that double kill. Kata and Penny stepping two. They need to go back to this tower because they're in a dangerous position here. Penny opting to jump through that portal, get out of here. Damage coming through on Kata. Good night.
Good Agni Bombs compounded with the Ricochet off the Huyi there to get the Chain CC going, as we see Sealcar just dueling with Jing Jian here all the way back by the Phoenixes. That's a tier 2 going down the dual lane. Now, those are two very valuable towers that Epsilon just lost, and this could be the scaling towards them losing the game if they're not careful. They don't want to lose this Phoenix.
You mentioned this earlier. The comp that XGN has is just so strong in those massive team fights because you start seeing stun come off, you see the abduct come off, you see the setup from Jing Chen come off, and then Agni just melting damage in with Huyi. It's really strong. They're going to compound this momentum right now. Look to the Gold Fury to just keep this graph moving further and further in their favor. Looking at it right now, we are seeing we're at that 10K mark in XP, but the gold, really the place to look at right now, it's at 5,400. Red team's going to take that Gold Fury just fine, but pressure is starting to get returned right now. We are seeing quite a few people melting that damage into Bobby. He is going to try to just throw them off and move back to his team. A hot blink, though, from Kenshin is going to put Jing Chen in a bad spot. He's able to get away, though. That hit is just so strong. Really, really good at disengaging here.
Yeah, that's the strength of Jing Chen right now. He just has so much ability to close the gaps on the escape and even on the engage. So it's just a part of his kit, and just as Drelo is very confident in his ability to play that champion. He plays him right to the limits, as we see him narrowly escape a number of times.
Yeah, quite a few times. Right now, we actually are seeing cool. It looks like there's a party going on at Fire Giant. Fire Giant falling below 50% right now, and it looks like no pressure is going to be returned. That's a free Fire Giant right now. Do we not have vision down? Or did XGN just decide to give that to them?
That's a little bit crazy to see that that Epsilon just get a free Fire Giant there off of the Phoenix being taken on them. And that's unheard of. I don't think I've ever seen... Not on a team like XGN, you know, the team that's usually very disciplined, very good on their ward coverage and map control. To see that Fire Giant going down is a huge misstep by them. But I mean, Jing Chen was focused out at that point. But I mean, ward control.
You gotta notice that everyone's missing too. Looking at the wards right now, I didn't realize that they had fallen so behind in the wards. We are going to see yet again Kenshin, just always the rock star with wards. 15 wards already down in this game. Yeah, ward coverage is important, otherwise you give up free Fire Giants.
Yeah, you can't have that happen. That's how you lose games right there, and Epsilon's just going to be able to curb any advance that XGN puts on their base right now, because that Fire Giant is going to be huge. But then put that on the Nemesis and even the Zhang Kui, and it's going to be really hard to break that front line. Yeah,
they're going to clear these fire minions here, and now they're going to push the duo lane a little bit, which is definitely important. The duo lane always being one of those lanes that really determines how much damage is going to be coming in on your Titan, and also important because of how far away it is from that Fire Giant. We are seeing them take the Fire Giant, though, now. This gives them a little bit of an opportunity to really push in on this lane, and look at this tower. Look at it melt. That is the Fire Giant buff just doing work.
Oh, that's trouble, as we see the teleport coming in from the Jing Chen all the way from the solo lane. Sealcar had made that big rotation, and that could turn any fight into a bad one for Epsilon, as they are outmanned 5v4 right now. They had to be really careful as Kata puts the pressure on Penny, just disengaging with the unstable Vortex, just putting some damage on the Jing Chen as they look to disengage.
Yeah, Epsilon not in the best place to dive in here, but they are going to look for that window of opportunity, try to get a pick here. But Freddy going to be able to drop that Solar Flare down, push him back just a little bit further. And now we're seeing Shame and Kata step right back to this tower. They just want to sneeze on it real quick, watch it fall down like a Jenga tower. There it is, going down nice and easy, cleaning up the flame minions as they go. But XGN waiting for that opportunity to get the engagement in, get a pick off. they're in a good place right now. XGN is not in a terrible place. We are seeing Epsilon with the Fire Giant buff, which is making them quite a formidable force. But just based off the comp XGN has, they may be able to get a pick in. And there's that Phoenix respawn.
Yeah, we're going to see the Phoenix responding, which is big. Good move by Epsilon. A lot of experience there to know to push the fire minions in and not worry about the other lanes. So it's putting that pressure on the lane, just pushing the fire minions back. Big engagement coming out as the through space and time is going to go down to put some pressure on the enemies. Look at the big engagement there. Kata kill on Jing Chen.
And we're just seeing right now that Seal Car knew just how aggressive he could get there. He was right in the front line, pushing XGN to their absolute limit, while his team was able to secure that tier 2. And they're making this map an even playing field right now, moving up to this Phoenix, trying to get it down while they still have this Fire Giant buff. And they're looking really strong. And right now we are going to see, the Suns pouring down. Penny taking quite a bit of damage here, and there is that setup. Homie going to get the kill nice and easy. That's going to put 4 players on with the Fire Giant buff instead of 5, which is going to make it a little bit favorable to XGN, although they have lost that additional damage that they get from Jing Chen and that setup that they get from Jing Chen. Going to make these engagements a little bit harder. Kenshin able to get that shield up onto Seal Car here, but Seal Car not looking that safe. He does have the mark on him. Freddy Q, though, and Mace to the face being by far the most in danger, and Seal Car's gonna find the double kill.
This turn, Rich, as we see Seal Car just coming in. Kata gonna get the double, and Seal Car picking up 1 as well. That was a big turn there, and you know what that was all about? Blind spots, as we see Nemesis, Shame, just coming in from all the way around the speed, the damage buff, and just getting on top of the enemy team, just catching them off guard, and we will see this Phoenix go down here. Good discipline by Epsilon to make that happen. Jing Chen going to go down there just to try and throw him off the Phoenix to make sure they can't get the damage now.
Just trying to buy time for Mace, and Mace is going to step 2 right now, get quite a bit of damage in on Seal Car. Bobby looking to secure this kill. We are going to see the Shibalanka all blown, but it's not going to give them enough time. More damage trying to come through right now on Seal Car. They might be able to, they're going to turn this around. They're looking for Bobby. Mace to the face, though, able to get that stun off, might buy his teammate just enough time to get out of there, and it does. Epsilon's got to be feeling pretty good right now. 36 minutes into this match, they're pretty much even on kills, and looking at the graphs, it's starting to become a very even graph. It's pretty much knotted up.
Epsilon is completely defying the odds right now. When they walked in, got that Fire Giant, things are just going in their favor as they continue to turn these team fights, and they're not easy team fights. They are playing on their heads right now.
Look how confident they are. They're trying to take another free Fire Giant here. We are going to see Bastet. Looks like Bastet's going to be able to jump. Bastet's taking that camp right now. They have to know that they're on Fire Giant.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't think that Epsilon has the damage here. Maybe they're not going to be ballsy enough to go in and actually take that. And they're going to see it now as the Nemesis ult goes down on Drelo. Drelo trying to jump on out of that situation as they're going to get the slows off. Threshold down. He is going to have a little bit of trouble disengaging. Agni Bomb's going to go down as well as we see Nemesis just on the pursuit, trying to chase him down. There's the double dash as Jing Chen continues to try and get out of there. Geb Shield going to make it so Nemesis still takes absolutely no damage.
XGN, you have just given Epsilon 2 free Fire Giants, and this is not a team to mess with, not a team you want to give that advantage to. They're going to take down another tower here, and they are just going to keep pressuring this map.
Absolutely crazy. See another bomb go down.
It looks like they're going to be able to melt through, but you saw how long Shame was able to stay up. All the shields being dropped on him, but this hard engage comp that XGN has is going to be able to get him down. Team fight not quite over yet. It looks like they are looking to Kenshin, but Kenshin able to just get enough space in between there. Now he's going to engage on his own terms.
Yeah, we're going to see the Fireman is going down the Titan of XGN right now, and that's going to be enough pressure where one of them is going to have to actually go back. So this actually becomes a 4v4 once again. So look for Epsilon once they notice to look for the engagement.
What's Epsilon's move right now? How do they leverage this Fire Giant buff to the most?
They need to try and get a pick. They need to try and get a pick. That's how they do this. They look for a pick, get someone out real quick, and then put the pressure on. Just push right down mid lane and look for the win.
It looks like they're going to try to get this Gold Fury down, and it looks like XGN, once again, does not know what is going on with their wards right now.
That'll narrow almost everyone back to 20 now. I think Kenshin's the only one that hasn't hit 20. So that'll make the XP negligible once that happens. So then it's all about gold, and after that, we should see that Epsilon takes the gold lead as well.
Yeah, we do see Kenshin going back there. Sealcar going to be able to get that Gold Fury down in the end by himself, getting the last few shots in there and being able to tank that. And nice and fine. XGN, put down more wards. I'm pulling up that ward graph right now. It doesn't look like they missed that. They have gotten what? They've gotten 24 wards down between Mace and Khepri. Then they've gotten another 11 down through Bastet and Houyi. But just definitely getting beat a little bit here.
Yeah, they're having a little bit of an issue here. This is the thing though with Kenshin. Kenshin's really good at the counter warding. So while he has the 12, he has the most wards on the map, and we see the two people right below him, the Agni and the support on the side of XGN. The issue being that Kenshin is counter warding them pretty effectively. He's putting down those sentries, so those wards are effectively being negated. So you can half those numbers on either one, and that's kind of what the pressure that Kenshin and Epsilon has brought to this game.
We're seeing the whole Epsilon squad. They just brought down that last tower, and now they're going to look to bring down this respawned Phoenix. But XGN not going to let that happen easily. There we see the bombs coming on down. Kenshin taking a little bit of damage, but that rock will not be shaken that easily. They are looking to get some pressure in of their own. They still do have 4 Fire Giant buffs here. That's the blink.
There's a Cataclysm going to come in there. Nemesis is all going to go down to Houyi as well. Houyi jumping to the back line, and he's going to get out of there, but that's enough pressure to take the Phoenix. Jing Chang going to make the pull all the way back, but we see X-Ball just being able to jump on out of that situation, and Drelo just making his move up there at half health on the Jing Chen. Sealcar going to have to make it out as well. He's in a little bit of trouble and gonna have to get on out of there. Houyi ultimate gonna be expended as well. Kenshin still in the midst of the onslaught of XGN. He is likely to go down all the way back there as he's actually gonna get through the portal.
Yeah, he gets through the portal nice and easy there. They weren't able to get enough damage on him, even with that absolutely incredible setup. Mace in the pursuit still. He doesn't want to let anyone get through. He wants to try to get Shame. He is realizing now that that space is going to be a little too much. Their best bet is just to get Healthy and Turtle yet again. That's just showing the strength of the XGN pick. They've made 2 absolutely terrible mistakes, in my opinion, and both of those being named Fire Giant. They gave up 2 free Fire Giants to a very good team, to Epsilon, and that has given Epsilon kind of the resurgence that they needed in this matchup. But XGN just has such a strong comp on those big team fights. When it's a 5v5 match, you have to favor XGN. They're able to get in setup, they're able to use that setup to get in an absolutely incredible amount of damage, and they were able to really stop that aggression that Epsilon was bringing to that matchup dead in its tracks, force them to go back and really not get full use of that Fire Giant buff by any means. They were able to take down yet again that Phoenix, which is not a complete wash, but XGN looking really strong. And once again, we are going to see Epsilon hoping that they can take another Fire Giant buff here, but it looks like we are going to see XGN open up. They definitely know it this time.
Oh, they have to for sure. Just look at Sealcar putting the pressure on Kenshin, doing a good job. Oh my god, they are actually going to get that once again. That's the 3rd Fire Giant on the map for Epsilon. They have to close out this time as XGN has been just destroying them on mechanics. That much is for sure, as they see these pushes with Fire Giant. We're going to see through space and time going as well now, as we see the big push coming out from Epsilon. Double snare going to come out from Khepri as he puts down the force to make them disengage.
Epsilon's positioning was looking pretty good there. It almost looked like they were going to be able to potentially find a pick, but XGN able to return with a really strong positioning, able to zone them just a little bit, and stop the aggression yet again. Is XGN trying some new strategy? Is there something I didn't hear about in the patch today that if you give up 3 Fire Giants, you get like a free Phoenix or something? What is happening here?
I don't know. The objective control is a wash right now for XGN. It's absolutely insane. To lose 3 Fire Giants like that, a team that's so far ahead, that's just also
just it's not something you assume that you'll see out of XGN. That's always been their strength. Their strength really on the Xbox hasn't necessarily been like the technical nitty-gritty getting skills off because they're new to that interface. It's always been their map awareness. It's always been their picks and bans. It's always been their strategy, the things that have carried over through years of experience on the PC. And right now, there's one place we're not seeing it, and it's the Fire Giant. It's ward coverage, and that has given Epsilon enough of a momentum swing to really be a force in this game and favored to win right now. They are the aggressors. They are the one knocking on that Chaos Titan's door, and we're seeing it once again.
With 21 wards right now?
Oh my god.
That's disgusting. 21 wards to 13 on the enemy support. And you see the next most wards coming out with Mace with 16. Kenshin on top of that has just been an awesome job of counter warding. Here we're going to see the Blink come in with the Cataclysm. That's a big engagement right here as we see the Zhonghui ultimate coming out. And we're going to see someone fall here. That's going to be the first kill by Sealcar. Jing Chen all going to pull everyone back. But it's going to be all for naught as we see Nemesis just going to walk on out from the back of that Phoenix and continue to zone the enemy team as he's going to pick up the kill on Homie.
Epsilon finally getting the 2 kills they deserve after they got those free fire giants, and the damage flowing on through. Freddy Q and Bobby getting low here, and the damage coming in on the Titan as well. That's another one for Shame. Bobby might fall down to the hands of Kata right now, but Kata putting those bolas in on the Chaos Titan because he knows he's going to be able to wrap it up right here. Epsilon getting the game they deserve. They deserve that. You can't give up 2 fire giants. I'm sorry, XGN. You had the better picks and bans. You were winning that game, and you gave up 2 free fire giants. That's what. Wow. Like,
what did we just watch there, Rich? That is absolutely insane to fold a game like that, an experienced team like XGN. Are we watching the Super Regionals right now? Are we seeing the same upsets that happen all week long there? Are they going to translate over to Xbox Smite? Because this has been absolutely insane. Epsilon had no business winning that game, but the map control and the objective control that they brought on just crippled XGN.
Where does this put Epsilon now in the standings? That's really good for them. Does that lock it for them, or do they have to win the next one too?
No, they're at 6 points. Aware has a match right after this, so they can get to the 7. Okay. So Epsilon does want to get the 2 on this one, and they're still in danger because the Aware can't tie it, and then they become in this weird situation where, okay, if Epsilon 2-0s right now, and then Aware 2-0s, here's the situation that happens. You'll have an XGN loses their next match. XGN's against Eager tonight as well to close out, so if Eager 2-0s XGN as well, you could be in a situation where you have Epsilon, Aware, Elevate, and XGN all fighting for that last spot. So we might see a little elimination bracket going on for that last spot.
That would be beautiful. I would love to see that happen. But let's just jump back to that game in and of itself, because we are going to see one more game from these 2 teams in this match. XGN looked dominant. Their picks and bans were incredible. That was one of my favorite team comps that I've seen in this season. It was beautiful. The setup potential was insane. They were able to get so much damage in early, but they just washed on those 2 fire giants. What do they do?
Three.
Yeah, 3. The third one, I'm gonna say it wasn't actually, you know what? It was a complete wash. The third one was like, at least they knew it was happening.
Right.
Like the first 2, it was like they put down their Xbox controllers to like answer the door or something. It looked like they were not even playing the game. And
okay, Rich. Okay, the first 2 fire giants were like you were taking candy from an infant, a new toddler who's just born. Yeah. And the third fire giant was like you were taking candy from a 1-year-old who just learned to crawl. Okay, that's what happened there.
Yeah, hitting on babies. That's what it looked like. Wow. All right, so how are we going to see XGN attempt to come back in this next matchup? Because they look so strong early on. Picks bans, I favored them over Epsilon. Also, Epsilon still does have their work cut out for them. If they don't get, if they don't get the fire giants absolutely given to them, that match would have gone in XGN's favor. So going into picks bans, what do you target if you're Epsilon?
If you're Epsilon right now, you try and take away. I mean, Xingqian wasn't an issue for them. They managed to actually curb that. That Zhonghui was an excellent counter to the Xingqian. And I haven't seen that yet. That was really interesting to see, just as someone who watches Smite and enjoys watching it. And that was interesting to see. That was exciting to see something, an answer finally for the Xingqian coming out from Sealcar. That was awesome. And to see Sealcar bridge out of his comfort zone into like a tanky mage. It looked
incredible.
Was cool.
He
cool
looked
to see.
So good. I'm going to throw this to commercial break really quick because I need to see the second game. I need to see it. Come back, watch it with us, tweet out to your friends, have them join, because this second game is going to be just as insane as the first one. We'll see you when we get back.